The hatred that a Sith can harbor is not just intense, it is immeasurable. A bottomless well of malice fueled by their complete surrender to the dark side of the Force. This rejection of light is absolute, severing every tie to compassion, mercy, or anything resembling virtue. As a result of this transformation, a Sith's eyes often take on a menacing yellow hue, a striking visual representation of their corruption and immense darkness. But while these eyes are undeniably iconic, they also raise an intriguing question. Why and how do Sith acquire these glowing sulfuric eyes? When they embrace the dark side, what about their connection to the Force that triggers such a physical reaction? And perhaps even more curious, why do some Sith seem to lack these signature eyes entirely, despite their devotion to the dark side? Let's take a closer look at 3 examples of Sith who displayed yellow eyes, and how their cases reveal the complexity of this phenomenon. First, we have Palpatine, the ultimate architect of the galaxy's chaos. Throughout the prequel trilogy, Palpatine appears as a charming and calculating politician, never showing his yellow eyes until his battle with Mace Windu. Then there's Anakin Skywalker, or Darth Vader, whose transformation into Lord Vader provides an intriguing case study. During the Jedi Purge, his eyes remained their natural blue, even as he slaughtered younglings. Yet they turned a fiery yellow when he slaughtered the Separatist leaders on Mustafar. And finally, there's Count Dooku, who, despite being a Sith Lord, rarely exhibited these yellow eyes. Even in moments of intense darkness, his brown eyes often remain unchanged. We'll dive deeper into each of these characters in a moment, but first, let's unpack what Sith eyes represent and how they work. The glowing yellow-orange hue, bordered by menacing red, is one of the most iconic and terrifying markers of the Sith's corruption. These eyes are not just cosmetics, they are a visual manifestation of the Sith's complete surrender to the dark side. When a Sith reaches a level of hatred and rage so consuming that it takes over their entire being, their connection to the dark side alters their appearance, most notably being their transformation of their eyes into the fiery beacons of their inner corruption. It's a fitting change for being so steeped in evil that their very essence seems demonic. However, this transformation for the Sith is not universal. Some Sith, like Dooku, never fully developed Sith eyes, raising the question about what truly triggers this phenomenon. Sith eyes symbolize how the dark side corrupts not only the soul, but also the body, twisting the person into something unrecognizable. For many Sith, their hatred and rage was so overwhelming that it radiated outwards, becoming visible through their searing yellow eyes. But why then did Palpatine not display them for most of the prequels? Well, as we know, he was one of the most strongest Sith to ever exist. And due to that, and also was incredibly evil, which, I mean, it checks out, he's a politician after all. But in all seriousness, the answer lies in his mastery of the Force. Palpatine possessed and mastered a Force ability known as Force Cloak, which allowed him to mask his dark side aura and, by extension, keep his natural blue eyes. This deception enabled him to operate in plain sight, manipulating events while concealing his true nature. And it wasn't until after his battle with Mace Windu that he fully unleashed his dark side powers, and therefore also revealed his yellow eyes. But by that time, he already secured control over the galaxy, and so one of the main reasons why he would never change his eye color after becoming Emperor was probably because most people likely assumed his appearance was a result of the supposed injuries from the Jedi attack. And also, most citizens didn't know what Sith eyes were. Anakin's case is equally as fascinating. When he slaughtered the Jedi in the temple, his eyes remained blue, reflecting his twisted sense of justice. He saw his actions as necessary to protect the Republic. He didn't kill the Jedi out of pure rage. However, when he confronted the Separatist leaders on Mustafar, his hatred boiled over. After years of war and personal loss, Anakin unleashed his rage, allowing the dark side to consume him fully. And because of this, his eyes turned yellow. Interestingly though, after this outburst, his eyes reverted back to blue when he spoke to Padme, proving that even in his darkest moments, there was still always a fragment of Anakin Skywalker left within him. However, after his defeat on Mustafar because of Obi-Wan, and the overwhelming pain and fuel and betrayal, his eyes turned yellow again, mirroring the fiery hellscape around him. And in his final moments with Luke after he redeemed him, Vader's yellow eyes disappeared for good, replaced by the calm blue of his true self. Dooku, on the other hand, stands out as one of the more intriguing Sith Lords when it comes to Sith eyes, or the lack thereof. Even as a fully fledged Sith Lord, Darth Tyrannus rarely displayed the glowing eyes that marked his peers. However, one exception of this was during his training of Savage Opress, when his eyes briefly took on the fiery hue of yellow. This could suggest that Dooku never fully gave himself over to the dark side, and unlike other Sith, he retained some of his old ideals and initially joined the Sith not out of hatred, but in a misguided attempt to save the galaxy from corruption. And over time, his ideals did become twisted. But shockingly, even at the time of his death, his brown eyes remained, hinting that he never fully surrendered to the dark side corruption. While some argue that he too could have used Force Cloak to mask his yellow eyes, it seems more likely to me that his resistance to complete corruption prevented the transformation. So this is just what I think personally about Count Dooku, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. While it would be super cool to be a Sith, personally, I don't think I could pull off the yellow eyes, nor could I find it in me to be angry all the time. But anyway, hopefully we all have a better understanding of why the Sith have yellow eyes and why some Sith are able to hide their yellow eyes. What are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think this is a cool reason, or do you have your own headcanon version of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. And with that, my fellow Star Wars nerds, may the Force be with you.